Hello and thank you for watching. This is STSC back again with another one of these build videos. Today we're going to be making a character I came up with a little bit ago named Deathbed. The idea is to make a kind of evil mad scientist character who will turn into a flatbed truck. So to get started, I went ahead and made 10 of these little wheels, 4 for the trailer, 6 for the truck. Now, the basic idea for this character is that the flatbed trailer could turn into kind of a surgery table or a stretcher where he could operate on injured bots. And I think that's the first thing I'm going to build. So let's bring back 4 of these tires to be the tires for the trailer. And I guess the first thing we need is some tiles to make the actual length of the trailer. So I just need to dig for some eight long tiles. I might have to use these white ones here. There we go. So it's going to be 4 wide and I guess 8 long. That seems like a decent length, maybe a little longer. I might bump that up to 10 long or so. Yeah, 10 long feels a little bit more right. So this will be the actual bed of the trailer. Very simple, just going to build it up very basically. Just with some simple plates. And there we go. So we have the bed of the trailer, and now we need to design a way for the wheels of the trailer to kind of swing out on armatures and get repositioned to be, the wheels of a stretcher, if that makes sense. So I've gone ahead and grabbed some of these 4 long round plates, which I'm actually borrowing from pieces I'm supposed to send to Starscreamer. So I've been holding on to these for a little longer than I should have, but I guess it all works out because I need them. I need to borrow them for this video. But of course, I'll be ordering some of my own when it's time to complete this model, assuming I don't end up replacing them. But I want, whatever I'm doing right now, I want it to be centered. So I'm going to add these jumpers. And the basic thought here is that I'm going to have these wheels on armatures like this, and then they'll swing down. But I need them to be spaced just right so that, the wheels will line up in trailer mode, but also have have both legs on the stretcher, if that makes any sense. So we're going to have to line them up, hopefully just right. But for now, let's start building out the assembly where these will connect. Oh, I just dropped that. So, there we have one wheel positioned, fairly nicely, on the back of the trailer. It's not sticking out from the trailer too far. And then the other wheel, which you can see is just offset to not collide with that arm. And this can swing down, that can swing down. And yeah, I think that actually works. You would have, a decent a decent looking, I guess, gurney or a stretcher, whatever the proper terminology is, but a little surgical table. I think that looks pretty cool. Though something that I might look into now is actually extending this front section out, maybe a stud or two, so that there's more room for the trailer hitch. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually mirror this, maybe make it a little bit more robust so it doesn't fall apart too easily, and I'll be right back. So I've gone ahead and made this a little bit more robust. These arms or these armatures are now connected a little bit more securely, and you can see, it pops down into a pretty nice looking gurney or stretcher. Yeah, but now I think I want to add a little bit more detail. I think this would be the perfect place to add some tanks using some of these rounded slopes. I really like adding this little detail to trucks. I just think it really sells the scale. I don't actually know if trailers really have tanks like this very often, um, but I think it looks cool. And generally speaking, I like to follow the rule of cool. If it's cool, you don't question it. And yeah, that's my philosophy. I'm also just going to swap this out for a plate like this and then tile it off so that there's a little bit more space here for, connecting the actual truck itself. So there we have the trailer, the actual deathbed that this guy will be named after. And yeah, I think it looks fine. Looks like a trailer. I might have to bring the wheels down. Like I might have to take this whole assembly out. It doesn't come off in one part very easily, but take this whole assembly off and like lower it down a couple of plates, depending on how the back of the truck ends up. I have a feeling that I'm probably not going to be able to get the back of the truck low profile enough to fit with this. So, like it wouldn't be that difficult. It would just be a matter of adding some plates here to bring that down. So I'm not going to worry about that. For now, we have the trailer, and I guess we can move on to making the man himself. Now, as far as the actual robot goes, I honestly don't have a super concrete vision. I know I want him to be a kind of multi-armed spider-like robot, but I'm not super sure how many arms, if it would just be at least 4, but maybe even more. And I'm also not sure what kind of truck I want to make him, like if I want him to be a cab over or a long nose. And I also don't really have a color scheme in mind. So we're going in a little bit blind here, but I figured I'd start off very simple and just make his legs that turn into the back of the truck. So I'm going to start off with this little piece. And I'm thinking this could work as a digitigrade knee for him. Now, of course, we need some clips to go into there. And something for the clips to go into. Now, I'm going to grab some of these brackets to be where the wheels connect. And then just a basic brick here. And kind of my thought process is, you have the back of a truck. This is the thigh. And then the rear leg rotates back, creates this kind of digitigrade shaping. And then you can have the foot built off of here. So, I guess I should probably build the foot off of there then. Though I'm realizing I might be better off with the other directional bracket here. So let me just get those off. Get some of these brackets. Then something like that. There, and then an ankle joint. And my thought process is that, it's going to be a 4-wide truck, so this is the outer stud, and we need another inner stud to complete, the 4-wide, half of a 4-wide width, and the foot can fill in this section. So, just putting kind of the rest of the ankle joint there. So now we're going to have to add the foot, which I guess will also kind of dual feature as the 5th wheel of the truck for connecting the trailer. So I figure just something like this. And then maybe a spike like that to finish off the foot. Could look pretty cool. So now we have a connection point for the trailer. The trailer will have, say, a turntable added there, or for now, let's just add this. So the trailer can peg in now. It is, you can see it doesn't quite fit, so we are going to have to bring this all down a stud or a plate, but that's not a big deal. But now we have a place to connect the trailer, and and it becomes a leg. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly mirror this. I'm also going to connect it very simply with a waist using one of these as the hip assembly. So I'll be right back. So I've gone ahead and made some changes. I mirrored the leg. I brought this all down by a plate, and I actually changed the 5th wheel design here so that it lined up better with how the wheels were built on the trailer. But it still pegs in, and there's this turntable, so you get plenty of articulation for the trailer. And of course, if we're going to transform it, you just quickly bring down the legs of the stretcher. Then his legs, oops, dropped it, just fold out like that. You have kind of these creepy, spindly legs, and he can stand behind his stretcher and work on his patient. So yeah, there we go. I think that's a pretty good look. And I guess we can move on to the rest of the truck. So let's get him back into truck mode. So we have him back in his truck mode, and it's time to start working on the cab, which will turn into the upper body. Now, I know right off the bat that I want him to have at least 4 arms. And I'm not entirely sure how I want to go about that, if he's going to be a long nose or a short nose. But the first thing that comes to mind is having kind of a sleeper cab on the back, which could become the arms. So I'm going to just go ahead and start on that idea. So I'm going to grab something like this. And then, oops, just dropping everything today. Say this. And my thought process is that then I can have some of these rounded plates, like this, 4 to be exact, clipped onto here, or pegged onto here. They don't quite fit, so I actually need a 1x2 here. Oh, okay. There we go. For spacing. And then, this would be 4 shoulder joints where the arms could connect, and they would fold, fold out or fold up and into the sleeper cab. So I'm gonna grab some of these and some random robot hands. There we go. And quickly, something just to cap this off so that these are actually connected. There we go. So these would be shoulder joints. I'm thinking with how these are going to be positioned when he transforms, like this would flip up and then the arms could kind of come forward. These might be kind of extra, like appendages, like maybe not his main arms. Maybe these would be kind of like little vestigial arms that he's operating on his patient with. And I could then have the full-on proper arms form from the rest of the cab. So we're just gonna bring in these. These are 2-plate tall bricks that have a hollow stud, so it allows you to then just put them over these. And the reason I'm doing this instead of just doing a clip tile is I want the stud facing up for the roof of the truck. Now this does limit, of course, the color scheme. This piece only comes in so many colors. This isn't every color it comes in. This is just the colors I have at my disposal at the moment. But it only comes in so many colors. It's I want to say fairly new, but it's probably a couple years old at this point. But to me, it's new. To me, it still feels pretty new. But yeah, I'm willing to accept. Maybe this guy will be white. I think white could work for him. As this kind of creepy bug character, or like kind of skeletal. But I'm willing to accept maybe he will have the white color scheme. It won't be the most exciting color scheme, but I think it'll work fine for the character. So, like this would be the sleeper cab of the bus, or the truck, not a bus. I have buses on the mind. And then this would fold down and you have the arms kind of coming out of his belly. If you can kind of see that, like his legs and then arms coming out of his belly, or even coming out of his back. That could work too if this was then on his back and kind of coming over his torso. That could work. So either way, whatever direction is facing forward in robot mode, I think these will end up in a nice place. And then this leaves this hollow space for the arms to fold into. So we're going to get some clip tiles. And some more of these rounded plates. And it will all come together like this. Grabbed an extra. So those would basically be the roof of the truck, of the sleeper cab section. And then the arms will be built off the bottoms of them. I'm thinking I'm just going to use these plates, these pieces. And then just grabbing some random robot hands again There we go. You have a hand. We have some creepy crawly arms. Some real just unpleasant grabbers. They come together. Fold up. Sleeper cab of the truck. And then we just need some tiles to top them off very quickly, so that the roof, is flat. Doesn't have studs on it. Now, I suppose the next thing I have to do is actually transform it now. So this is the alt mode so far. I'll bring in even his trailer. So this is the alt mode so far. It's got, the back of the truck, the sleeper cab, trailer comes off. You have a truck on its own, and now let's transform it into the proposed robot mode. This will flip up. Arms will flip out. Then the legs rotate around like that. Rotate around, flip out the foot. Bring the wheel actually to the back of the leg. So then, there we have the robot mode so far, and he's this creepy little spider guy. And I like it. One thing that is definitely a concern is that this is where the rest of the truck is going to have to connect. And obviously, with this folded all the way, it's kind of covering those studs. So it's going to be a matter of how I go about connecting it all. Maybe these arms don't fold up all the way. They fold up kind of more like this. And kind of become a backpack almost, if that makes sense. Still leaving more room for the rest of the truck to be built off of this stud instead of clogging it up. That could be a good look. But I guess we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and get this back into truck mode, and we'll continue the build. Now, we're going to have to build off of this. And we know that this is folding up. So this will probably have to kind of fold forward to get out of the way of that. Let's grab some clip tiles. And start building that up. I'm thinking I could even do this. And then just a question of how much space there is there. I think there might be, sorry, just trying to grab a piece here. There we go. So yeah, this, if I put this plate here, this now sits flush with all of that, which is perfect because now I can build the windscreen off of this and have the rest of the truck come off of there. So there we go. Now, we need something to be the windscreen, so let me grab a 2x4 brick and seasoned cheese slopes. Though I think this should be a brick farther forward, so it's a little bit more space there, because the cab's looking a little bit skinny the way I was about to do it. So what if I'll do this instead? bringing in this, and then this will come together. Though that does mean, that would mean that, you know, this is kind of a weak connection. So I think I might actually add another plate here. So that then I can sandwich this again. There we go. So now I just think that's proportionally a little bit nicer. This a little bit more space here for the cab. And this could also then be where the head hides away, maybe, hypothetically, just kind of spitballing. And, you know, the arms could come forward and be the nose, the long nose of the truck. So yeah, as far as, you know, how this works with transformation, this is off screen, sorry about that. You know, if this was the chest and these are his arms kind of coming off of his abdomen, or his midriff rather, I think that's a good look. I think that's pretty cool. And then he could have, honestly, actually, now that I'm looking at this, I was going to say he would have arms, you know, proper regular arms coming off. But actually, I kind of like, if there was a way to split this and have it kind of fold down to be a shoulder pad, I kind of like how this looks, having these as his main arms. This would be the chest. And that would mean making this a cab over truck, which, you know, I would be a-okay with. So I'm kind of on the fly reevaluating things, but, you know, that's the build process. I kind of actually really like the idea of having the cab split to be shoulder pads and having these actually be his arms, and he's just this creepy crawly little weirdo. So let's go forward with that idea. It's just a question of how we get the cab to split to be shoulder pads, or convincing shoulder pads. Getting this all folded back up. So my first thought would be these pieces, having the cab, built on those pieces. But with the way this is all set up, you can see that this piece, if I connect it to a stud, that is, this piece is actually offset differently than a bracket. So if I were to just, you know, put this piece here, it wouldn't actually sit flush with this. But if I bring in a plate, you can see that now this sits flush with the bracket, which, I'm sorry if you can hear my cat digging around in the background. I guess she's gotten bored, but yeah. So that does mean extending the cab forward, but I don't think that's going to look bad. I think having a thicker cab could look just fine, and it gives more space for a head. So yeah, I think this could be the way to do it. So, and it also means that there's more room to build down and have the whatchamacallit, the bumper and the grill details there. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So this actually is going to need to be some of these so that it's 4 wide. There we go. And one of This can connect here. And bringing in some rounded plates, 1x3s, you can see that now comes in and sits flush with all of that, which is perfect and exactly what we want. It just all works out. Wonderful. Wonderfully. So now we need to add the windscreen, which I'm just going to use these teal bricks because I don't have black bricks at my disposal. And add kind of the sun vane or the sun visor. You can see a truck starting to form, you know, the front windscreen, front grille, front bumper. Yeah. I guess let's go ahead and add the side windows as well. And like I said, I don't have a super solid idea of what the color scheme will be, but as I'm building it here, the pieces I'm using, like this 1x3 doesn't come in a huge amount of colors. I could always swap it out for the 1x2. It just might make it a little bit more fragile, but definitely I'm kind of boxing myself in terms of colors I can use. Like I said earlier, I would be fine with making this guy predominantly white. I think that could be a fine look. So I'm not worrying about it too much. But if I were building something where I had kind of a color scheme in mind, I might not be doing things as willy-nilly. Might be planning things out a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. You have that. So there we go. And then I suppose and put that there. Bring in some grills. And a bumper. And this will be where headlights attach. And the only thing I guess kind of left to figure out is what will happen with the front wheels and, you know, this whole section of the truck. I think I could probably connect it onto here and have it kind of fold back to be a backpack. So, but for now, let's also actually add a head so that he has, you know, an approximation of a head. And isn't just a headless robot. You don't want a headless robot. Just looking for a jumper. Closing that up, you can see that's how much space we have to work with for a head. I guess for now, just as a placeholder, I'll put like the most basic, generic head that I can do, and I can always go back and change it to something a little bit more characterful. But for now, I just want a placeholder. So like there we have a head. This is the chest. These are shoulder pads. Boom. And I guess I should also add these here to finish this off. Okay. So, proposed vehicle mode. Cab over, flat nose truck. Bring in his trailer. Deathbed. He's a flatbed truck. It looks pretty cool. Get rid of the trailer. And we can transform him into the robot mode. This comes up. Arms fold out. Should probably bring the camera up. This folds forward. You have his creepy arms. Those fold down to be shoulder pads. And the legs do their leg business. Oops. Broke it a little bit. There we go. You have Deathbed. Now, I'm just wondering if there's different ways to kind of position the arms. You know, if this one went over. I'm not super sold on that. There is also still the possibility I could go back on everything I've said and still have an arm attached onto here. But personally, I think I'm still liking this look where he's just a creepy little crawly guy. Just this little cretin who looks like this. So I guess now I just have to figure out how I'm going to deal with this whole section of the truck, where the wheels are going to go and all that. And to figure that out, we're probably going to go back to truck mode. So we got him back into his truck mode. Now, I think at the very least, this little section here can be filled in. I don't think it's necessarily that important to his robot mode, having that section be open. I think it'll look just as good having this closed up like that. Oops. Okay, this is being a problem. Okay, come on. Sorry about this. It's just not connecting. There we go. So now this whole kind of slice of truck we're going to have to fill in some way. This is probably kind of the one of the more annoying parts of a transformer is when you basically have the transformer done and complete in one mode, but not complete in the other mode. So you end up with kind of a deficit. You have a little bit of truck or a little bit of alt mode that now you have to find space for in the robot mode. And, it's just a little bit of an annoying process sometimes. But I suppose that's what you sign up for when you're making Transformers. So I'm thinking I could do something like this. And then just grab, a tile, clip tile, there we go. Geez, breaking it. And then a D-snot. And this can clip into here, or peg into there, and then come forward, and boom. Then there's just this little bit of space that we still have to figure out, but this can rotate out, come out, and the shoulder can still fold out. And then the wheel could even fold into the shoulder, which actually is a pretty cool look. It's just a question of if that still works with whatever gets added here to fill in this space. And my first instinct is to wonder if I could just fill in this with plates. I actually don't know if there's clearance for that. So I'm just going to try it and see if he can still transform if I just fill this in with basic plates. So there we go. Fill it in. Still space for this to slide in. And now let's see if it can actually transform with that place there. So it doesn't stop the shoulder pad from working. What I'm more concerned about is if it stops, this whole assembly from folding up the way it needs to. Oh, and it doesn't. The arms still... Yeah, the arms still fit just fine. So, all that talk about how frustrating this step can be, and it actually was pretty simple. So yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and mirror that on the other side, and Deathbed here might just be done. So here we have Deathbed more or less complete. Definitely there are areas I think I could improve on him, or add a little bit more detail, but for the sake of this video, I think this is a pretty good stopping point. You can see he's just a nice looking truck, has a trailer with plenty of articulation. I'm thinking that I could swap these for cylinders to make them gas tanks, but for now I've just stuck with the bricks. But yeah, he's got all the details I think he needs, and he looks pretty good. To transform him, first thing you do is just separate out the trailer, and the trailer will turn into his little surgical table for chopping up and dissecting bots. And let's set that off to the side. And we can transform the actual robot. So, split the legs, rotate them, and rotate the ankle. You have these long, bug-like, kind of insect-like creepy legs. There you go. Then bring the camera up, actually, so we can see what we're doing. Just fold up the whole cab of the truck. I need to bring... There we go. Now you can actually see it. So bring up the whole cab. Rotate out the wheel. And fold it back. Rotate out the wheel, fold it back. And split shoulder pads and bring the wheels up. And you can see there's his new head. I didn't mention it, but I went ahead and gave him a new head, which is just a little bit more characterful. I don't know if it's what I'll stick with, but it's definitely better than just the basic plate stack. I think this is just a little bit nicer. And last but not least, the sleeper cab folds open and folds up into a set of 4 creepy little spider arms. And if we just get him standing, there you go. I think he's a pretty cool looking dude, and he has his little table for dissecting bots. I imagine just a little bit of lore here. I thought of this character, and I kind of consider him integral to the backstory of my character Splitter, who I released the other week. I imagine this is the doctor that Frankenstein them together, and he is T-Bone's head medical doctor man. And does all of his evil, disgusting experiments and chopping up bots and turning them into monstrosities. Just a nice little guy. But yeah, all around, I'm pretty happy with him, and I think he's a pretty cool little dude. So I guess I'll see you next time.